no one is more modern than a fundamentalist. And fundamentalism, I grew up fundamentalist, so I can kick it around a little bit. I'm very endeared to fundamentalists. I'm very indebted to them. I wouldn't be here with the benefit of the education I have today if I hadn't started out in a fundamentalist church. My relationship with Jesus began in a fundamentalist setting. But it's not complete. And so I grew up with this kind of sense that this is the way the Christian faith had always been. It had always been fundamentalist. And all of this, anything that's not fundamentalism, is therefore liberal. It's a progressive development of theology. And then I began to actually read old theology, and I realized that the church fathers were not fundamentalists. They were willing to ask questions about texts that I would never dare to as a fundamentalist. And they read the Bible in funny ways. He refers to this with this allegorization, that they're okay with reading text as full of symbol that is to be deciphered, rather than just kind of a flat narrative full of historical facts. And this is kind of what I want to talk about today, focusing on one particular way of reading the Bible that the church fathers, I believe, were very indebted to the Jews for. And this is what is called midrash. First of all, I just want to let's talk a little bit more about fundamentalism, talk a wee little bit about skepticism. These are kind of the rocks that we have to navigate between, okay? So, unfortunately, fundamentalism I'm seeing in Catholic circles as well. This is not just a Protestant thing. About a year ago, I attended a talk given by a professor at a very prestigious, well-known conservative Catholic university, and he was talking about basically how to read and teach the Bible. And he gave this kind of reductionist outline of Scripture, and among some of the more strange things he said were these two little nuggets. He says that all of the laws in Leviticus through Deuteronomy were given to Israel as punishment. They are penitential laws given to Israel to punish them for the golden calf. And that's the only reason that they're there. So that's the first thing that he said. That to me as an Old Testament professor is just absurd. But the second thing that he said was that Deuteronomy is even worse than Leviticus because Moses wrote Deuteronomy when he was on a tirade. He's angry. And so you just get Moses on a rant. And so you don't really need to pay that much attention to Deuteronomy and Leviticus. It doesn't really apply to Christians. Let's move on. Now, he does that because he's trying to say Moses wrote every word of Leviticus and Deuteronomy. This is a fundamentalist approach to Scripture. So he's locked into this. At the same time, he realizes that there's tension between the laws of the Old Testament and the gospel, and what do you do with this tension? And he's not comfortable with tension, so he has to explain it away with something that the Bible doesn't say at all. He kind of crafts his own explanation. So there's an example of fundamentalism, right here in a well-known Catholic professor. Some of you may have been at that talk, and you might know who I'm talking about. Here's another example of fundamentalism. This is from a Protestant source. This is a guy named Leeson Archer. He wrote a book called A Survey of Old Testament Introduction. We use this in my Old Testament intro course in my Bible college. And he says on page 15 in the introduction, the Holy Bible comes to us as a set of directions right from the hand of the manufacturer who first invented and produced the human race. You see the problem with that?
How many levels?
What's that?
How many levels?
How many levels of problems? Yeah. So this kills imagination. You understand? This is why I chose this topic. This absolutely kills imagination when you're reading Scripture, because instead of reading Scripture as a springboard for the imagination, you are reading it like an owner's manual. When was the last time you read the owner's manual to your car? Only when it breaks down. And if we read the Bible like an owner's manual, the only time we'll ever dust it off and take it off the shelf is when life breaks down. That's not why God gave us the Bible.